So you're planning a trip to Rome and you have no idea how to begin. This city is packed with ancient history, stunning architecture, and incredible food. I mean, it's Italy, right? When coming from abroad, a lot of travelers choose to spend 3 days in Rome before continuing on to other parts of the country. So that's why this itinerary focuses on 3 days. And if 3 days seems pretty short, I'm happy to tell you that it's a lot more doable than you think. In this video, I'm sharing my ultimate 3-day Rome itinerary that will take you to all of the must-see sites, hidden gems, and best local eats. These are recommendations I've gathered after numerous trips to Italy and traveling with Italian friends. And at the end, I'll give you my best travel tips for visiting Rome for the first time. These are exclusive tips that you're not going to want to miss, so stick around to the end. Welcome to the Spirit Explorer, where I help you travel better with thoughtful itineraries and honest advice. I'm going to be knitting, and you're going to probably see some of my cats as this goes. So just get cozy, grab a coffee, a tea, kombucha, whatever you like, and settle in as we discuss this itinerary. Let's take a look at the map for day one. Day one is going to be this dark blue color. You will start at the Colosseum, make your way across one of the most historic parts of this city to the Capitoline Hill, cross over the bridge, and spend the rest of the evening in Trastevere. As you can see, you're covering a small area on day one, but still covering lots of ground. Your first day in Rome will largely be spent around Centro Storico and Monti. These are two of the most historic parts of the city, and I suggest getting an apartment or a hotel in this area to maximize your time. The day starts with one of the most legendary sites in the world, the Colosseum. If you can, arrive early because it's the most busy at 10 a.m., so aim to get there around 8 or 9 if you can. Now, before you go, book a skip the line ticket or book a guided tour that will take you to the underground and arena floor for a more immersive experience, and those tickets will also include skip the line access. Getting these tickets in advance will save you time because during the peak hours or the high season, you could be waiting in line to visit the Colosseum for an hour before even getting your ticket. I will link all those tickets down below for you, along with any other mentions throughout this video. I do have a written version of this itinerary as well, and it's going to be linked below too. Your skip the line ticket will include access to both the Colosseum and the Roman Forum. The Roman Forum was once the heart of ancient Rome, so you'll basically be walking through an ancient city somewhat similar to Pompeii on a smaller scale. Personally, I found the Roman Forum to be a lot more interesting than the Colosseum, but they're both fantastic and absolute must-sees during your trip, so do not skip either one. And besides, your ticket will include entry to both, so there's no reason to miss one of them. Now, you should set aside roughly 2 to 3 hours for the Colosseum and the Roman Forum. After your tour, it will most likely be time for lunch. My personal favorite restaurant near the Colosseum is called Now Macchio Ristorante. They have a homemade fettuccine with basil, a homemade tomato sauce, and a sprinkle of Parmesan cheese. It was so simple and gorgeous. I highly recommend that if you are looking for a convenient lunch spot near the Colosseum. Capitoline Hill. After lunch, follow down a street called Via dei Fori Imperiali to continue toward Capitoline Hill. I highly recommend seeing more of Rome's treasures at Capitoline Hill. You'll find the Capitoline museums, which are actually the oldest museums in the world. It's full of old world artifacts and ancient art, and entry is 21 euros for adults. However, since you are going to be in Rome for 72 hours, I do suggest getting the Roma City Pass, and I will link that below. The pass will give you free access to 2 museums or archaeological sites, discounts on other museums, free public transportation, and other perks that I will discuss towards the end of this video. The pass is around 58 euros, and I think it's definitely worth the price if you plan on visiting multiple museums and archaeological sites. Anywho, if you don't want to visit Capitoline museums, I still want you to go to Capitoline Hill because you're going to get some fantastic city views. There's actually a cafe attached to the museum that has a terrace, a rooftop terrace, so you're going to get some banging views of the city at a Coeli staircase. Also located on Capitoline Hill, the Aracoeli staircase offers a thigh-burning ascent up to a church called the Basilica di Santa Maria in Aracoeli. And by thigh-burning, I mean like your booty's going to be really proud of you because it's a ton of stairs. But once you reach the top, you will be rewarded with some awesome views because we haven't had enough of those yet. And once you get into the basilica, you can admire all the frescoes, intricate details, and kind of soak up a quieter ambiance compared to the other places that you've visited so far. Monument of Victor Emanuele II, or Altar of the Fatherland. The Monument of Victor Emanuele is also called the Altar of the Fatherland, but just to add to the confusion, Italians often call it the wedding cake because of its grand white design that somewhat mimics a tiered wedding cake. Anyway, it's a monument dedicated to the first king of Italy. He's actually not buried there. He's buried at the Pantheon, which you'll visit on day 2. However, you can see the statue of the goddess Rome and a tomb that is dedicated to an unknown soldier from World War I. You'll find the monument between Piazza Venezia and Capitoline Hill. It's free to enter, and if you can catch it around golden hour, you'll get some spectacular views of the Colosseum. Aperitivo. Going for an aperitivo is a cultural experience in Italy. It's essentially a pre-dinner drink and snack that helps stimulate the appetite. But I mean, I haven't met an Italian that doesn't have an appetite, so I don't think they need the aperitivo, or maybe they just had so many aperitivo that they are forever full of appetite. I don't know. There are a lot of places in the area, so feel free to check the map for places between Piazza Venezia and Ponte Garibaldi, which is your next stop. Otherwise, I recommend Sette Grammi Cafe and Lounge and ordering an Aperol Spritz. Ponte Garibaldi. Ponte Garibaldi is one of the most beautiful bridges in Rome. It crosses the Tiber River and leads into the charming neighborhood of Trastevere. This is where you'll be unwinding for the evening and having dinner. Trastevere is a gem of a neighborhood, and it's perfect for experiencing Roman culture in its fullest form. It has working class roots which add to its character, and it's one of the liveliest areas in the evenings. Here you'll find narrow cobbled streets with greenery covered buildings, craft breweries, local boutiques, and traditional trattorias. You'll find the most restaurants and nightlife around Piazza di San Callisto and Piazza Santa Maria. However, if you want to have cacio e pepe, which is one of Rome's most famous dishes, which combines pecorino romano and black pepper, I do recommend walking 15 minutes outside of Trastevere to a restaurant called Felice a Testaccio. It's a restaurant dedicated to Roman cuisine, and it's super famous for its cacio e pepe. Otherwise, just stick around Trastevere and visit one of the lovely traditional trattorias. Day 2. Your second day in Rome covers more of the city's most iconic sites like Vatican City, the Pantheon, and the Trevi Fountain. On day 2 is this turquoise color. You're going to start at Vatican City, cross over to Castel Sant'Angelo, and then focus around Centro Storico, where you'll find Trevi Fountain, Piazza Navona, and other gyms. And by the way, if you're curious, I am making a tank top. We're about right here. Before getting started, I highly recommend visiting a bar or cafe near your hotel or accommodation and getting an espresso, a cappuccino with a cornetto, which is a croissant. I like to get mine vuoto, which means empty, or you can get it with chocolate, Nutella, marmalade, and even some savory ones at some cafes. Vatican City. You'll need to wake up early to maximize your time at Vatican City. You can use your Roma Pass to take public transportation for free. Otherwise, it'll be about a 30-minute walk from Centro Storico to Vatican City. Vatican City is technically a separate country, yet it's still one of the must-see destinations on your first time in Rome. Once again, I recommend getting tickets in advance. It is free to enter Vatican City, but to visit the Sistine Chapel and Vatican museums, it does cost. And you'll avoid waiting in lines if you have those tickets in advance. From the Vatican's website, tickets cost 20 euros plus 5 euros for skip the line access, so it'll be 25 euros per person. I believe it is cheaper for children's tickets, but just check the website to get the best information. If you really want to get a deeper understanding of Vatican City, you can also book a guided tour, and that will include skip the line access. Allocate roughly 3 to 4 hours for Vatican City. That's why I aim for you to get there around 8 a.m. If you think you'll get hungry while you're there, bring some snacks because there's no proper restaurants at Vatican City. There's just a cafe called Cafeteria Centrale, and I don't recommend it unless you're just getting coffee. Castel Sant'Angelo. Either use your Roma pass or walk roughly 15 to 20 minutes to Castel Sant'Angelo. This is a super historic castle built in 135 AD, making it one of the oldest places to see in Rome. You're welcome to do a tour of the building. I personally have not, but my Italian friend has, and she loved it. She thought it had a beautiful cafe with great views of the city and the Tiber River. Tickets are about 17 euros to enter, so keep that in mind. Sant'Angelo Bridge. In order to cross back into the city center of Rome, you will need to cross the Sant'Angelo Bridge, and lucky you because it is stunning. And as the name suggests, it's right in front of the castle and it gives you a stunning view. It was also built close to 2,000 years ago and it's still standing. It's just wild to me that we can have things like that are so old when modern day designs just tend to crumble after a handful of years. Talk about a modern day scam. Anywho, cross the bridge and continue on into the city center. Campo dei Fiori translates to field of flowers, and it came about in the Middle Ages when this square was still a meadow covered in wildflowers. Here you can find all sorts of fresh produce, truffle oils, cheeses, dry pastas, and loads of little souvenirs to take home from your trip to Rome. There are a lot of restaurants that line the square. I personally recommend Antica Osteria Romanesca. They have Roman-style pastas, including cacio e pepe, if you didn't have it yesterday. Coffee at Eustachio Cafe. Sant Eustachio Cafe is one of the best places to go for coffee during your trip. They roast their own beans in-house and filter their water through an ancient aqueduct, which I think is very cool. They have outdoor seating, great for people watching, and you can even take home a bag of their coffee. And the day keeps on going as you head toward Piazza Navona. With your belly filled, walk about 4 minutes to Piazza Navona. This is among the most beautiful squares in Rome and perhaps my personal favorite. It's a very long square with a big, huge central fountain called Fontana di Quattro Fiumi. And it has 4 statues that are dedicated to the Danube, the Ganges, Rio de la Plata, and the Nile River. And for a cute hidden gem for fellow book lovers, you can walk around the corner to Fontana di Libri, Fountain of the Books, where you'll find a cute little unassuming fountain dedicated to books. Pantheon. The Pantheon is one of the best preserved buildings from ancient Rome, and it's a budget-friendly stop. It used to be free until July of 2023, and then they decided to make it 5 euros to enter with the option of adding an audio guide for an extra fee. And pro tip, don't stop at any of the restaurants in the square. They're all overpriced and pretty mediocre in my opinion, but if you go off any of the side streets, you're going to find much better options for a snack, aperitivo, or whatever you're looking for. Trevi Fountain. I'm sure you're excited to see the Trevi Fountain. I highly suggest grabbing a little gelato from a nearby gelateria before heading over there. It's a straight walk from the Pantheon, so it'll just take a few minutes to get between the two. By the time you get to the Trevi Fountain, it should be later in the day, so hopefully there's not a mass crowd of other tourists and travelers as there often is during the peak season. For example, on my first trip to Rome, I visited in late May, which I didn't think was really going to be the peak season, but when I got there, I guess maybe I got to the Trevi Fountain around noon and there were just tons of people. I'll try to pull a photo so you can see it. And then I went back later that night and there was just a couple sitting by the fountain and me and some people I met in a hostel, and it was just so much better. So try to visit in the evening just so you can kind of see it with some daylight, and then come back in the later evening if you'd like to see it even calmer. Then throw a coin in the fountain and you'll return to Rome once again, as they say. Dinner. Complete the night with dinner at one of the nearby restaurants. Pane e salame, which literally means bread and salami, is one of the best rated restaurants near the Trevi Fountain. However, as the name suggests, it's more of a bread, cheese, meat situation rather than a full-on like dining experience. Otherwise, consider Ristorante Agrodolce Roma for classic Roman dishes, or Gli Angeletti for a cute outdoor dining space. Day 3, your last day in Rome. This day is a little bit more chill with quiet walks through parks and museums and time to shop for souvenirs and hit any last minute attractions. Day 3 will begin with the Spanish Steps, where you'll go up to Villa Borghese, have free time in Centro Storico and Monti to do some shopping, and then finish off at Janiculum Hill for a gorgeous sunset. Go for breakfast either at your hotel or at one of the nearby cafes, and then head for the Spanish Steps. It's hard to say why these steps became so famous, but many attribute it to the 1953 film Roman Holiday, which does star Audrey Hepburn. Nonetheless, they lead up to a beautiful Renaissance church called Trinità del Monte, which has great views of the city, and you'd hope so after walking up all those stairs. Villa Borghese and the Borghese Gallery. From there, you'll be close to Villa Borghese and the Borghese Gallery. These are two fantastic spots to escape the urban buzz and enjoy a little bit more of a quieter experience. You'll find a vast park with scenic paths and a panoramic view from the Pincio Terrace. The park is also home to the famous Borghese Gallery, where you'll find an impressive collection of art, so I highly recommend it if you are an artsy person. You'll need a reservation to visit the Borghese Gallery, and you can secure that up to 3 months in advance. When you reserve, you'll have a 2-hour time slot. The sooner in advance you book, the better chance you'll have of getting the time that you want. Hours are between 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., but the last entry is at 5:45 p.m. Shopping. I've set aside some time on day 3 for you to do some souvenir shopping, meandering, or hit any little last minute places that you could have missed on the previous days. As a sustainable traveler, I love supporting some local boutiques when I'm traveling and looking for something. Luckily, Rome has no shortage of that. I bought a stunning handmade hat a couple of years ago, and it's become one of my all-time favorite souvenirs. It was made by a local designer called Tina Sundergaard, and all of her designs have a vintage inspiration, and yeah, she's an icon. And I just find supporting a local boutique so much more fulfilling and cooler than buying a hat from H&M. When it comes to boutique shopping in Rome, 2 great places to start are Via Vittorio Veneto and around the Monti neighborhood. Pizza! Don't think I forgot about pizza on your itinerary. I really like the traditional Roman restaurant called Non c'è trippa pegati, or the Diadema restaurant. Diadema is also close to the Basilica Papale di Santa Maria Maggiore. This is a really beautiful basilica that I highly recommend you stop by, and you can get in until 6:45. At Non c'è trippa pegati, I got the marinara pizza, which was oregano, garlic, and tomato, and it was incredible. I did not even miss the cheese. And then at Diadema, I had a classic margarita, and that also hit the spot, so take your pick. Janiculum Hill. If you're willing to make the trek across the city for golden hour, you will be highly rewarded at Janiculum Hill. You'll be able to see a vast view of Rome as well as the mountains in the distance, which is a really cool perspective. I will link down below the specific location that I love. The hill also offers a lot of hidden gems like the Fontana dell'Acqua Paola. There's also a botanical garden, a Japanese garden, and a butterfly park there. Cooking class. Then, for a unique and cultural dining experience on your last night, I suggest doing a cooking class. Particularly, there is one in the historic center that focuses on making fettuccine, ravioli, and tiramisu. You'll cook everything with a professional chef, and then you'll get to enjoy your meal with a glass of wine or beer of your choice. It's definitely one heck of a way to finish off your adventure in Rome, and I will link that down below for you. Now, before you go, here are some must-know travel tips for visiting Rome for the first time. make a checklist. Whatever must-have experiences or must-see places you have in mind for your trip to Rome, write them down in the notes section of your phone just so you make sure you don't miss anything and get back and have regrets that you didn't spend your time properly. Secure tickets in advance. As I've already mentioned, you're going to want to get most of your tickets in advance just to make sure you don't miss out on any activities and that your time is spent wisely. Make sure those tickets that you get are skip the line, particularly if you are visiting during the summer months or any peak travel seasons. Bathrooms cost. If you see WC signs around the Vatican, Colosseum, at train stations, etc., you will need to pay €1 to use the bathroom, and it will need to be like €1 coin. Otherwise, if you got the Roma City Pass, the bathrooms are free. Watch for pickpockets. Rome is one of the worst destinations in Europe for pickpockets. This is especially prominent in crowded areas, somewhere near the Colosseum or any other busy areas like the metro. Stay vigilant, especially in the crowded areas, and keep your belongings secure. I tend to carry an anti-theft bag. This one is from a brand called Travelon. It has a little secure clip that will lock your bag in place so that nobody can get into your purse while you're walking around. It also has anti-theft material and RFID blocking technology so that nobody can steal your credit card information. Highly recommend. Stay hydrated. Rome can get very hot and humid in the summer months, so it's best to carry around a reusable water bottle with you. You can fill up at water stations around the city. These are called Nassoni. They're easy to spot because you'll definitely see other people filling up their waters there. Otherwise, you can fill up at your hotel. Dress for religious sites. This is an important one. When visiting religious sites like the Pantheon, Vatican City, or any of the basilicas, you'll want to cover up your shoulders, no spaghetti straps, and wear something that comes down to your knees or just above. A lightweight scarf is an easy solution for this. You can wrap it around your shoulders and wear it throughout your visit and then put it back in your bag or tie it to your purse, put it in your hair, however you want to do it. If you don't have anything to cover up, you might be denied entry to the Vatican or the Pantheon, so keep that in mind. Wear comfortable shoes. Rome is a city that's best explored on foot, so be sure to wear comfortable shoes. Trust me, no matter how much public transportation you decide to take, you're going to be on your feet quite a bit, and flats and cheap sandals just aren't going to cut it. Coperto fees. In Italy, it's common to see a coperto fee on your bill when dining at a restaurant. It's a fee that covers your table, napkins, silverware, etc. It might seem silly, but it is common practice in Italy and is not a scam. But to be legally put on your bill, it needs to be listed somewhere on the menu, and it is usually €1 to €3 per person. La dolce vita. Finally, remember to embrace a bit of the slow life when you're traveling in Rome. I understand that it's one of those destinations that has so much to see, and with only 3 days, you might feel rushed, but I highly recommend just enjoying a little bit of time for quiet meandering, sipping a coffee and people watching, talking to locals, and just embracing la dolce vita. It will richen your travel experience and feel far more meaningful than just like capturing photo after photo and like rushing to the next thing. And that's pretty much all I have for you on this Rome 3-day itinerary. I wish you a buon viaggio and a safe trip to Rome. Feel free to comment down below if you have any questions, comments, concerns about this itinerary or any trip that you're planning to Rome or Italy in general. And feel free to give this video a like and subscribe if you enjoyed it. That would really help me along because I have just started this channel to give you advice on how to travel better and make amazing itineraries for unforgettable trips.